Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Post-harvest is a really good time to control some weeds. Some weeds are like dandelions especially, and even some thistles. If the frost hasn't got them, it's a really good time to get at them. A little later, maybe in a couple weeks from now, it's also a really good time for winter annuals like stinkweed or shepherd's purse. So we've got a whole bunch of little cleavers down here. Some that are just little seedlings, and then as we walk along, we'll see some that are a little larger. So now with this kind of stubble and direct seeding where we're not plowing the stubble down, if we get good snow cover, a lot of those cleavers will make it through the year and be in a fairly advanced leaf stage for next year. So that they can be difficult to control in canola depending on the herbicide you're using, but they'll be more difficult just because they're larger. Over here we've got a whole bunch of different weeds. So you can see here we've got some dandelions that are in very nice size, lots of leaf area so that you can get good herbicide interception. This cleaver's here, it probably won't overwinter quite that large. Some of it will die back, but it's likely that if we get snow cover that it will make it through the winter, and there are a lot of those here. We haven't had real heavy frost here at this point. We've only had 3 or 4 degrees, and so you can see some of the thistle, like this thistle here, is also at a really good time to control it. Normally with a little more frost than this, the leaves will be damaged and there won't be good herbicide absorption. Some of the weeds you can ignore. There's a lot of wild oat here that it really doesn't make much sense to do anything about because it's probably not going to produce viable seed and it's going to die with the frost anyways. So you kind of ignore that at this point. It's too late to do anything about it now. And concentrate on the winter annuals, some of the perennials that we can do something about.
Yeah, there's also some foxtail barley in here too.
Yeah, there is. We did find some. Oh, here we go. There's some foxtail barley right here. And it's notably difficult to control foxtail barley. You probably need a fairly good rate of Roundup to do much to the foxtail barley. And Roundup actually would do a pretty good job on most of these weeds. One consideration that Roundup has an advantage on some of the others is that if it's been really dry, which it has here, some of the herbicides that might not carry over in many conditions could start to carry over if it stays dry, such as 2,4-D, fall 2,4-D or fall MCPA. And something like Express SG, you could put it on and it'll work well on a lot of these broadleaves, but if it's really dry, you wouldn't want to put it on much past mid-October.
And that carryover, that's something you're concerned about with all crops?
Well, no. I mean, if it's Express, you wouldn't be worried about cereals. But if we're going to go from this wheat crop into a canola crop, then you would worry about the carryover of things such as 2,4-D and maybe even MCPA in a dry situation, and Express if it was put on too late in the year where it didn't have time to break down.
What are some other fall considerations? Like we talked about frost a little bit. Can you expand on that? Or if you can't, that's fine.
Yeah, with frost, some weeds are much more susceptible to frost than others. So typically your sow thistles and Canada thistles usually die quite easily with a frost that's more than 3 or 4 degrees. And so then after that, the herbicides wouldn't be useful to put a herbicide on them. But things such as quackgrass and the winter annuals, they'll take a lot more frost before and still keep a lot of green leaf tissue. And so it'll be still useful for them.
If we have a light frost and we see maybe some more growth coming or the temperatures increase, will it be okay to spray then?
Yeah, I think it'd be okay on the winter annuals and some of the perennials. Like the dandelions still have a lot of leaf area that looks pretty green and healthy, and so some of those, I think it still will be okay. But as I said, if it remains dry and we're worried about carryover into something like canola, we want to be careful spraying well into October.
So always check the label.
Yeah, the label will help a lot.
Thank you.